Hi, I'm Lindsay Cone. I'm a Mass Golf member, and this is my Sprinter van. Hey everyone, so this is my Sprinter van. It's a Mercedes Sprinter, and I bought it in 2020 and converted it into a livable van where it came just as a cargo van and then built out the insides, which I'll show you in a second. But it basically, I'm able to put all of my equipment for all my activities and be able to drive around the country and work and live and stay active. So the big thing is that I'll show you the working station that I have. So I'm able to work remotely using satellite Wi-Fi and work anywhere in the US with that. And so converted it from, as I mentioned, just a cargo, and then put in a kitchen area with running water and a refrigerator, some storage, and then a bed in the back. The bed is a queen size bed. It has enough space so you're able to sit up. I have some lights, LED lights, that actually all of the power in here uses solar power, so it recharges from the roof of my van, and that's how everything charges: my computer, the Wi-Fi, the lights, etc. Cool thing is all my equipment can stay in the back, where I can have skis in the winter, I can have kiteboard gear, I can have golf clubs and my bikes. And so I've been on a few road trips out west across the country and traveled through the desert and sort of explored. It was really a passion of mine to try to get to really explore some of the US and go to places I hadn't ever been and be able to play golf, be able to bike ride and see friends. And so for the last 2 years or so, I've been using this as an option probably every few months or so, and go on a trip for a few weeks and live out of it, work out of it, and try to have some fun. And yeah, I'll show you the back as well. And the back is has all the storage. It has some of my gear, but not all of it. So it has a bike, golf clubs, some paddleboard and kiteboard gear, and then a ski rack on the side as well. And then the bed up top, but the bike rack slides out, and so I'm able to store a few different bikes, and basically all my activities are ready to pull out and join with friends and have some fun. I got into golf through my dad and played with my younger brother when I was growing up. So the two of us learned when I was about 7, and we played just on the weekends and in the afternoons, learning where up in Vermont where I had grown up, and just got into it. I didn't really get into competitive golf until my early teens, and then played in college as well. But other than that, it was more just a fun sport to try to do with my family and friends. And as I got better, it was fun to get into the competition scene and try to improve my game and see really where it took me. I also ski raced growing up. Ski racing was probably my main focus, especially in the winter time, and then in the rest of the year it was really cross training for that. And some days it was tough training where I would do a really hard workout and try to go compete in a golf tournament, and I was so sore that I could barely swing the club. But skiing was really the main focus, and then a lot of cross training and other activities to try to get in shape for skiing. So bike riding, mountain biking, and road biking, and then as of the last 3 or 4 years, kiteboarding as well has been the main 3 or 4 activities that I enjoy most. I was recruited for skiing out west to the University of Denver, and they were a Division I program for all of their athletics, so I was able to compete in, I was a walk-on the golf team, and I noticed that anytime I spent a lot of focus throughout the summer on my golf game, my skiing improved just mentally, focusing on how to push myself and deal with working through practice and as you're overcoming different areas of your golf game, trying to overcome that so that you were able to do well in some of the tournaments. So anyways, I competed in both through my 4 years at Denver, and we were probably top 20 or so in the country, but it was more just the experience of being around that caliber of having those teammates and being around some of the schools that we competed against were also pretty competitive. So just seeing their levels and seeing what went into their game. One of my good friends is, maybe two teammates went on to play on the LPGA, and so seeing firsthand what they their level of their game and what they put into it in terms of practice and their talent and everything was eye-opening for me, just to try to elevate my game, and it was really the first time I had been around teammates or that level of golfer, so it was a pretty cool experience to be joining that team and be part of that experience. So after college and competitive golf, I spent a few years in the finance industry, and I spent a lot of time trying to invest in my knowledge and experience, and I didn't have as much time to focus on golf and get out there and play or compete. Ever since my experience in pure financial services, I've really tried to broaden my experience, so I'm more working at a company or supporting a company and helping them grow in the outdoor active lifestyle space, and trying to mirror my personal interests with what I'm doing in business and finance. And so first I was working for Spartan and Tough Mudder for probably about 6 years, and learning finance from the point of view of an athletic company, and they supported my athletic ventures, whether it was skiing or golf, and they supported, but it was definitely demanding in terms of the hours, and I actually switched up recently in the last month or 2 months now to Athletic Greens, which is a company that is fully remote. Everybody's remote, and for me it's good. It's sort of the right fit in terms of balancing what I want to do with my personal hobbies and athletics, and then also investing in my work knowledge and building that exposure with getting more experience in the finance space and trying to keep going with the business world and so on. So I took a bit of a hiatus just with practicing and competing as well, and so I finally was able to get back into it probably after about 7 or 8 years, and I played casually every a couple rounds a year or so, but getting back into the competition scene was awesome, and I started probably 2020 just getting back into it and doing some of the mass golf tournaments and doing some of the regional tournaments around the Northeast, and trying to elevate my game and get it back. It's with work and other activities, it's definitely a challenge to try to get it to where I want it to be, but I think it's coming along for sure. Yeah, so when I am coordinating a golf tournament out east that I'm competing in it, basically I have to plan around what amenities are nearby in terms of food, grocery stores. I use Planet Fitness to shower at and work out, and that's really what I'm searching for as I'm looking at the golf tournament and seeing what's nearby and where I can stay and where I can park as well and stay overnight. And so I'm trying to figure out how far away from home I need to travel with the van and where the tournament is, and then figuring out where I can stay that's safe, that has a good spot, and then planning when I need to be able to work if I do, and then get into the practice so that I'm ready to compete. And so just coordinating all those variables, it's a lot of logistical work in terms of figuring out what the best option is and how to make it work. But it is nice in the sense that it's something that you don't need to plan too you don't need to think about the hotel and booking something and coordinating that. It's a little less stressful. You just make sure you have all your gear in the van and you're ready to go, and you have everything that you need at your disposal. I've had so many compliments at tournaments or traveling around in it, and I think that it's definitely something that I hope to share that experience with others and let others experience it as well. My favorite places or maybe favorite place that I've been at with the van so far in the last 2 years is out west. I went on a couple trips to California, all the way from Vermont to California, and my favorite spot would be along the coast in Big Sur, California, where it's beautiful there. You're driving along the coast, there's surfing, there's some biking in Santa Cruz just north, and then it's beautiful. The sun in California is pretty spectacular in terms of the temperature and then the climate as well. So that would probably be my top choice, but honestly there's so many close seconds of Moab, biking, Sedona in Arizona, in the winter up in Montana, and Colorado, Utah area for some good skiing. And I think you gotta just experience it all, because there's so many cool spots in the US and throughout the West Coast, but also the East Coast as well, and exploring some of the cities. It's definitely a little harder out east, and I haven't really been on many van trips in the east since I've owned it. It's more a day or two for an event or whatever it might be, but I think it's a little more challenging in the east to navigate and coordinate and everything like that. But out west there's some beautiful national parks like Yosemite and the Grand Canyon and so on that were fun to go see, and honestly be able to sleep right outside or park nearby and see for sunrise or sunset, and be staying right near it, and also working, because that's also the important thing, to be able to fund all of this and fund the trips and everything and like that. I think that having the flexibility is the biggest selling point, I would say, where you're able to work next to a beach, or you're able to work next to a mountain or whatnot, and then having that flexibility so you can pull out your bike or pull out a pair of running shoes or whatever and just open the door and go explore and have some fun. So it's work hard, play hard is really the motto, and I think living that and experiencing is something that I'll take away forever, and I hope other people are able to experience that as well.